Hi, my name is Chung. Welcome to Part 3, Perfect Advanced and Creative One-Step Self-Defense Techniques of Volume 5, Perfect Self-Defense Series of my instructional video library. In this Part 3, I will be teaching you 3 of the advanced one-step self-defense techniques and continue on to create your own creative one-step self-defense techniques. I will be taking you through side steps, joint locks, sweeps, takedowns, and much more. So put your uniform on and let's get started. Let's get started with advanced self-defense techniques 1, 2, 3. Assisting me is Mr. Youngun Park. 차렷, 경례. 차렷, 경례. You always want to make sure you're approximately at 2 arm lengths. You can be a little bit further away, so this way you can work on safety, control, and starting at ready stance. Remember, this is advanced one-step self-defense, and there are 3. Number 1. Hiya! 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 Cha! Cha! Hiya! Hiya! Number 2. Hiya! 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 Ta! And number 3. Hiya! 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 Ta! Hiya! 차렷, 경례. 차렷, 경례. Now, let's see all 3 of these advanced one-step self-defense from the other angle. 차렷, 경례. Number 1. Hiya! 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 Cha! Cha! Hiya! Cha! Number 2. Hiya! 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 Cha! Hiya! Hiya! Cha! And number 3. Hiya! 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 Cha! Hiya! 차렷, 경례. Once again, those were advanced one-step self-defense techniques 1, 2, and 3. Let's break up each numbers 1, 2, 3 of advanced one-step self-defense techniques, so this way you can follow along. Let's get into a ready stance. Number 1. As your opponent attacks, you need to step back because you need a room to kick. So step back into a back stance and knife hand block your opponent's punch. As soon as you block, grab. Follow through with a low, high, double kick. Either front round or round kick. Double kick. Right away, step behind. You hold on to your opponent's arm. You use your leg that's in the back, and you're going to follow with a ridge hand strike. So you have 3 motions. You have a pull, a sweep, and a strike, and you take your opponent all the way down to the ground. And you hi-ya! Finish him off with the punch. Now let's go to number 2. Your opponent comes in, you step in, just like one-step self-defense techniques. 일보 대련. Number 2, you step forward with the rising block, palm heel strike. Exactly same thing. Step in, palm heel block, following with a grab. Make believe you've blocked your opponent's arm, you follow with the strike, you grab your opponent's shoulder or the neck, and you're holding onto your opponent's wrist. Right away, knee strike to the groin or to the abdomen. Once again, step behind, just like you did in advanced one-step number 1. Lift up your opponent's arm, same time, drop your right hand underneath. This is the tricky part. And you're going to hit the elbow joint to create the arm bend. And you're going to put your hand on top of yours to reinforce. And your opponent's arm should be in an L shape. And you got him in a shoulder lock. Using again your leg, take your opponent down, step into it, so this way you have a little bit of balance. And hi-ya! Finish him off with a right punch. Remember, you're holding onto your opponent's arm with your left hand. Don't let go. Let's go to number 3. Advanced one-step number 3 is just like basic one-step number 9. Left foot forward and a cross block. Remember to keep the right hand close to your body, so this way your hand won't get trapped. From there, turn your hands. Your right hand is going to turn and grab your opponent's arm, just like number 9. And left hand will turn also same time and grab your opponent's hand. And if you practice this, you'll notice your hand only turns one way, clockwise. So using both hands, you grab your opponent's hand and the arm, and you twist. As you twist, you drop. If your opponent drops, follow with the front kick. If your opponent doesn't drop, then you do a roundhouse kick and kick him in the body to make him drop. And once your opponent is there, hold on to your opponent's arm with your right hand. And as you step down with your right foot, punch to the side of the face, temple, cheekbone, or even to the jaw with your left punch. Hiya! And to finish him off, raise your left arm up as if you're doing inner block or left forearm break to your opponent's elbow joint. Hiya! To do the elbow smash. That is your advanced one-step 1, 2, 3. You have just finished going through step by step of advanced one-step self-defense. Now let's go through the same thing with the partner. Assisting me, Mr. Younggun Park. 차렷, 경례. 차렷, 경례. 준비. Yeah. Okay, once again, in this advanced one-step self-defense techniques, you want to be approximately at 2 arm length. Even though it's advanced, it starts out just like the basic. One-step self-defense 1 through 12. This is advanced one-step self-defense 1, 2, 3, but the idea is same. Defending against the punch. Hiya! Hiya! He goes back exactly the same in a front stance, does the low block and aims. Pauses again, 3 to 5 seconds, and punches delivered to your face. From here, again, we're at that close range. I step back, so this way I can create more space, more time. I block his hand. I'm in a back stance. As I block, I grab. So this way, I can have the advantage. Right away, I deliver a low and a high kick. Hiya! Hiya! Stepping behind, so I can use the sweep, as well as the pull, and a strike. 3 motions. Remember, after the kick, step behind. And using that leg, the hand, and the strike, take him down. Hiya! And once he's down, you can follow through. Hiya! With a punch. Now here, if you're too tall and you can't punch down, that's where you can drop to your knee to get a little bit of balance. Or you may even get a little bit longer or wider stance to follow up and have that stability. Practice that with your partner so this way you can be comfortable. Now, regardless whether you're tall or short, all of these techniques should work for you. Why? Because if I'm short, Mr. Park needs to punch down towards me. If I'm tall, he needs to punch up towards me. So remember, they're going to come towards you. And once again, you can't defend until they attack. Now let's do number 2. Hiya! Hiya! This time, just like basic one-step self-defense number 2, you step in and rising block, following with palm heel strike. So block and hiya! Right away. Grab the wrist, grab the shoulder or back of the head, and using that force, knee strike. Hiya! To the groin or to the abdomen. Once again, take the leg, step behind, just like number 1. Now you want to take your right hand, drop underneath, and come to a ridge hand strike toward his elbow joint. And same time, raise the arm up so his arm bends. And you're going to use your right hand to put him on the top of your hand. And using that force, as you lift up your arm, so now you got him in a shoulder lock, plus the leg, you have all 3 actions going all in one. You drop your opponent, take him down. Still hold on to your opponent. Take your right hand out, finish him off, hiya! With the punch. Now let's go to number 3. Hiya! Hiya! Side step and cross block. Remember, get out of the way. And again, right hand should be inside. Turn both hands clockwise. With the left hand, grab your opponent's hand. With the right hand, grab your opponent's wrist. Same time. As you twist, drop. Now Mr. Park is down, so I deliver a kick, hiya, to his face. Hold on to your opponent's arm with your right hand and clear your path. With your left hand, hiya, deliver a punch to the head, hiya, and arm break to your opponent's elbow joint. 차렷, 경례. 차렷, 경례. Step by step of advanced one-step self-defense. Let's go through this advanced one-step self-defense techniques 1, 2, and 3, step by step from the other side. I will even go through it a couple times just in case you missed it the first time. A little bit slower, and of course I will take you through a few more times. So don't miss it. 차렷, 경례. 차렷, 경례. 준비. Number 1. Hiya! Hiya! As he comes into attack, I step back to create the space. And again, a knife hand block. Simple knife hand block, and I grab. So this way, he doesn't get away. I follow with double kick with the yells. Hiya! 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 Right away, step behind. Again, you're coming from inside to outside, still holding onto your opponent's arm. As well as, same time, you're going to use the other hand to do a ridge hand strike to the chest or even to the face area. So all three actions, remember, your hand pulling, leg sweeping, and hand striking. Three actions going all at once after the double kick. Step behind, take them down, hiya! Follow through, hiya! To finish them off. Now you've noticed that time I follow through with my knee on the ground to get a little better balance. Let's go to number 2. Hiya! 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 Rising block and a palm heel strike. As soon as you do that, grab your opponent's wrist, grab your opponent's shoulder, or even their neck, whichever one is more comfortable for you. Right away, follow with the knee strike. Hiya! Now comes the hard part. Step behind, stay in control, stay in balance. Step behind just like number 1. Now you're going to drop your right hand, just nice and relaxed. You're going to raise your opponent's arm up. If you do not do that, you'll probably get your opponent into what we call an arm lock or break their elbow joint. But by lifting your opponent's arm and coming over where you hit your opponent's elbow to make their arm bend, that's what you want to do. Now again, in a self-defense situation, you come up, break their elbow joint, it may be just as effective. But here, we want to be in full control. So we raise the arm and bend your opponent's arm. Now you're still holding onto your opponent's hand, as well as the other hand coming over to reinforce. So again, 2 against 1. Now you notice my arm is right underneath his shoulder. So I locked his shoulder by lifting up and dropping. And you're going to take your opponent all the way down, using that shoulder lock. And of course, finish him off, hiya! With a punch. Now let's see that shoulder lock one more time. Your opponent is punching. I block, strike, knee, step behind, and my hand goes underneath and over. And I raise the arm, same time. You take the other hand, put them on the top, and follow through. And finish him off with the punch. Number 3. Hiya! Hiya! Cross block. Remember, your right hand is inside. Turn your hands, both hands, so you can grab his hand with your left hand, grab his wrist with the right. So you got 2 against 1. And you're going to twist with both arms. Not just with one, but with both. Okay? One more time. We're up here in a cross block. Turn your right hand, just like number 9, to grab. But you're not pulling, because you're going to use the other hand and turn and grab your opponent's other hand. And then you're going to twist with both hands. So you're twisting his arm and his hand. And then you're going to follow through with a kick. Clear the path. Hold on to your opponent's arm with your right hand. So your left hand is free. So you got all this area to work with. His ribs, kidneys, his arms, his body. Punch and forearm smash to his elbow joint. Hiya! To finish him off. 차렷, 경례. 차렷, 경례. step-by-steps of advanced one-step self-defense techniques. Now you're ready for creative one-step self-defense. Just in case you have not, make sure you have seen all of the basic self-defense in part 1, perfect basic self-defense techniques. Part 2, perfect one-step self-defense techniques. And advanced one-step self-defense techniques in part 3, which you have just finished reviewing. Now you're ready to create some of your own. However, I'm going to show you some of the more advanced wrist locks, grabs, takedowns, sweeps. So this way you can add some of your own creative techniques. Assisting me again is Mr. Younggun Park. 차렷, 경례. 차렷, 경례. Now as you can see, we're using full mats. Whenever you're practicing even basic self-defense, advanced self-defense techniques, safety is always rule number 1, regardless of what you're doing. Whether you're doing self-defense techniques, and of course in sparring situation, full gear is recommended. Now, let's start out with simple, basic wrist grab, just like ones you did in part 1. Here, we turned our palm in, and we stepped in, reached underneath, thumb by back of his knuckle, and then you grabbed and you dropped to get your opponent into a wrist twist. In creative, you can follow through and take your opponent all the way down to finish him off. So you're not only using the wrist twist, but you're also following through. So here, as he grabs, you come up, drop, and take him down. Hiya! That is wrist twist, following with the takedown. Okay, a little bit faster. He grabs, hiya, ta! Right away. Wrist twist with a takedown. Now, let's continue this wrist grab with wrist locks. However, they're not always going to be grabbing. Sometimes your opponent will be coming with a grab, choke, or even a punch strike. So let's assume your opponent comes in and throws a punch. Say a right punch. We talked about the side step. Here, I'm sidestepping into his body. If he throws a left hand, then I'm stepping the other way. You notice I always have my hands up, not necessarily to block, but just to deflect for my own safety. And if I have my hands up, I can block with my fingers, my palm, my wrist, my forearm. I have a big barricade between myself and my opponent, so I'm protected. And you have to always keep that in mind, even when you're creating some of your own. So as Mr. Park comes in to punch, I sidestep and I block. You can block with 2 or with 1 hand. After you block, you grab your opponent's hand or the wrist. If you see this closely right here, I'm grabbing onto his wrist with my hand. You notice heel part of my palm is near back of his knuckle. By using palm heel block or palm heel strike, I can bend his wrist and get him into a wrist lock. I can break his wrist, I can follow through and trap him. You notice I got his elbow under my arm and I switched my hand to secure. And once again, if you notice, my fingers are near back of his knuckle. And right here, I have him on the wrist lock. One more time. I'm going to do it a little smoother so you can see the flow. Never try to face your opponent directly. Try to sidestep, go with the flow. So as he comes to attack, I block, I catch, wrist lock. I'm continuing that motion, sidestepping, and you notice I'm coming around a circular motion. I use the other hand to guide his elbow right into my body. I drop the hand, and I still got him in a wrist lock here, and I just switch over to secure that wrist lock. One more time, but let's try this from the other angle. He throws a punch from the other side. I block. Now, if you do it well and you do it right, you should always work from both sides. I grab his hand. Once again, you notice heel part of my palm is by his knuckle. I get him in that wrist lock. I step right beside him using that side step, and I go with the flow. And you notice his elbow is going to come right under my other arm. Again, applying the pressure, continuing the wrist lock. I switch the hand over and secure the wrist lock. One last time from the other angle. He throws a punch, I block, grab, trap, and got him in the wrist lock. So that's applying both side steps with a wrist lock. Now adding an arm lock, arm twist with wrist lock. Your opponent comes in and throws a punch. This time you can trap him with a cross block or same deflection. Again, as he throws a punch, I sidestep, and using the same block, I grab his arm, his wrist, and again, instead of getting my opponent into that wrist lock, I apply the pressure on his elbow joint with my other hand, as if I'm doing a palm heel strike or palm heel block with the twist. So now I got him in an arm lock and a twist. Here I can finish him off by sliding, and if you notice where my thumb goes, it's going to go right toward his back of his hand, and I bend his wrist to complete the arm lock. And just in case your hand is not strong enough with one, you use two. So again, you have the wrist lock here and an arm lock here. Now again, if it works from one side, it should work from the other side. So let me take you through a little smoother. As he comes in to punch, I sidestep, catch. Instead of the wrist lock, I'm going to continue and turn, applying pressure on his elbow joint to create that arm lock and a twist. And I slide back, put my thumb on back of his hand, bend his wrist to do the wrist lock and complete the arm lock. These are a few of the arm locks, wrist twist, and wrist locks that you can use in your creative, advanced one-step self-defense. If you have been following along, you have just finished side steps and wrist locks, arm locks. Now you're ready for sweeps and takedowns. Simple sweep, coming from the front or coming from the back. Front sweep, you will go directly on, almost as if you're doing a crescent kick. Now, facing your partner, I want you to assume a fighting stance. From here, you take your back leg, you're going to bring it in a circular motion and just tap your opponent's back of the heel with your instep, as almost if you're doing a roundhouse kick. But you don't really kick, but you kind of come in a circular motion. And your opponent can do the same thing, coming back. That's a good way to practice that front sweep. One more time, you come around, and he comes around. That's a good way to practice again, the front sweep. Do that many, many times until you perfect the technique. Now, sweep is used to throw your opponent off balance. If you do it correctly, you can use that sweep to take your opponent down. So sweep can be used as a takedown. Now, using the same scenario, as your opponent comes in to punch, I use the side stepping to deflect. But instead of using the side step, I grab and reach, and same time, I'll throw him off balance, and coming off with the front sweep to take him down. Let's see that one more time. As Mr. Park comes in, I deflect, I step in, I reach, and you notice where my leg is. I'm ready for that front sweep, so I use the force to deflect and throw him off balance to take him down. Now that was front sweep. Now let's try the back sweep. Back sweep means not sweeping the back leg, but sweeping from the back. And let's see this in action. Mr. Park will throw and step in. Again, I deflect. This time you notice from inside. Here, I can also do the wrist locks if I wish. However, I want to try this sweep. I'm going to step up, and you notice where my leg is going. Just as if you're doing that advanced self-defense. You step behind. Except this time, my leg comes up, and my hand again can go toward his chest, his face, to use the action, come up, back leg, back to back. Okay, one more time. As he comes in, I deflect, I come up, and take him down. Let's continue on this front sweep and back sweep with a defense against a kicking technique. Front sweep comes from the front. Back sweep comes from the back. Using the same action, when your opponent is coming in to kick, you're going to be sweeping their supporting leg. Just because it's called front sweep, that doesn't mean you sweep only the front leg. And of course, back sweep doesn't always sweep the back leg. It sweeps or takes down your opponent both ways. Now, let's talk about that first front sweep. You're coming in a circular motion. However, since your opponent is coming in to kick, first, get away from the kick. So I drop my body weight. You don't always have to sidestep. You can drop your weight down, just like I talked about it in part 2. You have side steps, you have angle steps, as well as up and down. So when he throws a kick, I'm going to drop my weight down. So as he comes in, step by step, I drop to my knee and my hands, and my leg is ready for that front sweep. Now let's see that one more time. Little smoother, but still slow motion. As you drop, don't take your eyes off your opponent. Just because you're dropping, don't look down. You might be telegraphing your move. So keep your eye on your opponent and ready to defend just in case he changes mind or he detects your moves, and you have to be ready to defend yourself from the floor. So as he comes in, I drop, and that'll be the sweep. Now let's see that a little faster. Hiya! Hiya! Now let's continue on this sweep, takedown, with the back sweep and takedown. So instead of coming to the front sweep and takedown, we're going to use back. We're going to get a little fancier. We're going to drop and we're going to spin. So we can come from the back sweep to take your opponent down. Once again, as your opponent comes in, you're going to drop to your knee. And you put your hands to secure and a sweep to take him down. Okay, one more time. You drop to your knee, put your hands down as he kicks, and then you sweep to take him down. And let's see that regular speed. Hiya! Ta! Hiya! And you can follow through with roundhouse kick to finish him off. Let's continue on this takedowns with scissors takedown. Scissors takedown could be to the legs or even to the body, as well as to the head. When you're doing this scissors takedown, just make sure bottom leg stays at the bottom and behind you. Now that may sound simple, but once you start working on this scissors takedown, you will notice what works and what doesn't work. Now, the way to practice this scissors takedown is simply learn to drop your weight and kick your leg out, almost as if you're sliding into a base when you're playing softball or baseball. Now let's try this step by step with a partner. Let them get into a fighting stance and you square off with your partner. The lead leg, front leg, will go to the front of their body or front of the target towards you, inside, remember that. And the back leg goes behind, so it kicks out. So as you drop, you slide in, and you kick your leg, back leg behind, you notice, and the front leg in the front on the top. Now right now, I'm working on just his front leg. You notice the top leg, I'm gonna kick back, almost as if I'm doing a hook kick. And then bottom leg comes underneath, almost as if I'm doing a front kick. And you're going to take your opponent down here to their back in a scissors action. Now a little bit tighter. This time I slide in, same action, and I'm going to catch both of his legs, which means I have to slide in a little closer, set myself, kick my legs in all the way. Front leg goes to the front of my body, almost as if I'm doing a crescent kick or even an axe kick. And then I kick the bottom part and kick the top part and take them all the way down. Scissors. And then from here, I can even do an axe kick to follow up. Now, if your opponent has the other side in the front, the scissors leg takedown works just as well. Your opponent comes in, drops, catches this time, not at the front, but at the back of the leg. Same scissors takedown, a little smoother. I drop and kick my leg out, catch. And here, my leg is ready for the scissors takedown. Now, the tricky part about scissors takedown is if you don't do it properly, your opponent can find a loophole. Well, you have to have a move for their counter move. If you're a little bit far apart and you only get to trap one of their legs. So you drop and then you catch and you only caught one of their leg. While you're trying to apply that scissors takedown, your opponent takes the other legs and goes with the flow, and he gets his balance. Now he's stable. Now you can't take him down. Just as he's ready to strike, you can reverse that scissors takedown by rolling to the other side and bring the other leg up. Now I got him in a lock. His leg doesn't bend that way, so I can take him down and apply the scissors takedown by reversing him. Let's see that one more time. So I do the scissors takedown only to the front. He catches his balance and he resists. I spin the other way and take him down to counter his move. And those are some of the ways scissors takedowns can be applied on the leg. Now, you just go up a little higher. Same situation where you slide, except your scissor is up to the body. So here, for example, when you drop, make believe you're going to kick, hook kick, a crescent kick, or even a spin kick to their body. And you can see where the other leg is going to go. And that's where the scissors takedown to the body comes in. So here, your leg will slide under. This leg will come up high, as if you're delivering a kick. And you can do a body scissors takedown. And lastly, a scissors takedown to the head or to the neck. Now this, just in case you kick a little too high or you get caught where your opponent has your leg on their shoulder. In this situation, let's make believe I delivered an axe kick toward his head. He catches, and I'm trapped. He's ready to sweep my leg down. He's ready to take me down. Well, before he does that, I drop to my hands. I'm ready to take the other leg. As you can see, it's going to come up, catch his neck. Now I'm ready to roll and take him down all the way to apply the scissors takedown. Now let's see that one more time. Remember, you're caught, okay? Or you can simply throw an axe kick or crescent kick toward his head and spin out of it as if you're doing a spinning kick, which will help you to apply that scissors takedown toward his neck or toward his head. So you come up, across, drop, kick up, and scissors takedown all the way. So those are your scissors takedowns to the leg, to the body, and even to the head area. You have just completed sweeps and takedowns. Now, let's continue on with hip throws. Hip throws are much like the takedowns, except you're using not only your leg, but your hip and your body. That's why they're called hip throws. Let's go back and start with the basic self-defense technique, a choke from rear. If your opponent is behind you and they're choking, you sidestep out to protect against that choke. Assume a horse stance, and you look at your opponent to protect their throat. Follow with the elbow strike, and when his body goes forward, yes, you can do the back fist strike and groin strike. But if you're going to do the hip throw, get yourself in position by elbow strike and using the momentum, drop that backhand between you and your opponent and reach back. Now, you notice there's a big void. That's where your hip is going to go. And you can see where Mr. Park is going to go right over. Hip throw. So after the strike, reach back, push my hip into it, and using that action, I pick him up, and I'm going to take him all the way down. Now let's see this regular speed. Hiya! Hiya! The most important thing in hip throw is the weight transfer. So think of it as going from a horse stance or even a regular stance to a back stance or even a cat stance to give you a little extra stability. Best way to practice hip throw is give someone a piggyback ride. Piggyback ride goes straight up. Hip throw goes slightly sideways. But you'll get the momentum and you'll be able to apply that same concept into your hip throw action. Let's continue this action with the shoulder throw. Now, very much like the same. Instead of using your hip, you're going to use your shoulder, your whole body. So rather than them coming over your hip, they come over your shoulder. Now again, assume the same chokehold. You side step, elbow strike. And instead of putting your hip into it to try to take him down, you would grab and you notice he's coming right over my shoulder. Okay? So let's see that in regular speed. Hiya! Sa! Those are your hip and shoulder throws. Now, you're ready to create some of your own one-step self-defense. Creative one-step self-defense. Well, these are some of my favorites. See if you can pick up some of the techniques and apply to your own creative one-step self-defense. First, step by step, slow motion with Mr. Park. Defense against front kick and a punch. 2 attacks. Mr. Park comes in with a front kick. I sidestep and deflect the kick. As he comes into punch, I block and an arm lock. Same time, I grab his wrist, wrist lock. Step back, arm lock, and a wrist lock, same time. Follow with the kick. And follow with another arm twist and take him all the way down to finish him off. Hiya! Cha! Cha! Ji-sa! Hiya! Cha! Hiya! Isa! To finish him off. Second creative one-step self-defense. This time, defense against a roundhouse kick. As Mr. Park comes in, I do a cross block to block my face, my body, and of course, the lower section. So as he throws, I block, and then same time I catch by bringing the bottom hand up. Right away, I adjust my balance and throw a kick to stun my opponent to the low section. It can be delivered to the leg. Follow with a head strike, back fist, or knife hand strike. Elbow strike to his knee, and take his supporting leg out by doing that back leg, takedown, and finish him off. Now, regular speed. Hiya! Cha! 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 Hiya! Cha! Hiya! Cha! And you can even follow with a stomp to finish him off. In this third creative one-step self-defense, I'm going to combine one-step self-defense techniques number 1 and number 8. And I'll show you how it's applied. From fighting position, when your opponent comes into attack, you drop your weight down as if you're doing that number 1 horseback riding stance punch. So as he comes into punch, I block and throw the punch same time. From here, I shift my body weight back and follow with number 8, side kick. And then I'm going to step into him and catch him into the hip throw. Now let's see this in regular speed. Hiya! Cha! Cha! Isa! Cha! and you deliver a kick to finish him off. Fifth and final, creative one-step self-defense. Follow along, take notes. As Mr. Park comes into punch, I sidestep and use an open hand or knife hand block to deflect. Right away, I grab, so he can't get away. And using that sidestep motion, I come up and deliver roundhouse kick to the body. As I come down, using the momentum, I use a punch, or even a palm heel strike to his temple, his ear. Follow up with an elbow smash, and right away with wrist lock. Continuing on the wrist lock by dropping under my arm, and I switch, and I trap that wrist lock. From here, using the momentum of the wrist lock, I will finish him off. Asa, hiya, haya, sa, cha. That was my fifth and final creative one step. Now, see what you can make up. You have just completed part 3, perfect advanced and creative one-step self-defense techniques of volume 5, perfect self-defense series of my instructional video library. Please keep in mind, once again, when you're practicing these techniques, safety comes first. And I'm sure you'll have lots of fun creating your own one-step self-defense techniques. I will see you in the next series.